In this course, you already watch 4 videos. One is about the camera, shutter speed, ISO, aperture. It means terminology of the camera, how you can use camera and exposure. And the second lecture you already watch that the digital terminology, the digital concept, PAL, NTSC, and other things. And after that, I discuss about the sound and sound system, how you will get the good sound and good interview. And lastly, I discuss about the light and light situation. And with these videos, you also get one experience with one journalist shared his experience, what he learned during the working environment. So it is a very usual that what we discuss in the class, what we discuss in our video about the video journalism is not all. We can learn from the class everything. We have to go for the shooting. We have to go for the real story. When you make a real story in the real situation, you will face different type of difficulties. I can remember the one situation during the flood in 2007. I was in Faridpur in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and that time the scenery was not far to us. It's a midday, humidity is very high. Our camera is not working properly. And in the hard light situation, in the weather is very rough in that time. The temperature is very high, around 37, 38 degree temperature in the midday. But I have to produce a story of the real people who are suffering for the flood. So if I share this experience, and if you get the experience from the journalist, video journalist who are working in this field, you will understand that you have to prepare yourself for any difficult situation. And you judge yourself as a video journalist when you push to yourself in an uncomfortable situation and get a nice footage and nice video and nice interview, whatever the situation is. That time you will find yourself the confident video journalist. For that point, I will summarize the whole course for you. And for the summarizing, I will explain some example, what I did during these difficulties and how we may overcome when you will face these types of difficulties. During the COVID-19 in March and April, I edited one story on a garments factory. And during the editing period, the editor and I is working on it. We realized that the camera person was not comfortable with the situation because everyone is very scared about the COVID-19 and coronavirus. That time we didn't know about this virus, and we might affect it during the shooting. And the worker is working over there, they also very scared about the situation. So how they overcome this situation? They did a nice job over there. They shoot the appropriate frame and appropriate content. They got the interview during that time, when people are scared to say something in front of the camera, and the camera mic also carry this virus. So they took some interview of the CEO, high officials, how they manage these things, because there is a target. And who are making this story, this is very important, but the audience, but the owner who want to make that story during that time is very important, the objectives and goal of the story. Now if you go to make the same story, you will not face that much difficulties, because we are familiar with this coronavirus. And in the early days, like March and April, it was not that familiar. So the goal and objectives is very important for any story. When you set this goal and objectives, that what we are going to shoot, what we are going to tell to the audience for any story, that is very important. Set these things and prepare yourself to deal with the situation, and all the technical knowledge and expertise will help you to build the story during this situation. But I will give you a very normal example before that. Yes, we might face some challenges for the time, like photography. It not needed too much time, but the videography, it needed very long time. Shoot different type of shot. I will give you another example, not with the COVID-19 or coronavirus, but before that. There is a time limitation. We have to complete all shooting in one day, because they got the permission in the particular area, because it's a restricted area. So plan in that way. I asked to my office, give me 3 camera and 3 camera person with full 3 setup. Why? Because I have a time limitation. I have to complete the shooting during the day. Though it's a very big story, long story and critical story, not easy to complete the shooting in one day. Normally that type of story need 3-day to 5-day shooting. Because I have a 3 setup with 3 assistant director, I can manage this setup. So goal and your objectives is very important. If you have the time limitation, or if you have a permission limitation, like if you go for shooting in Sundarban, government will give you a permission for 2 days, 3 days or 5 days. You have to complete your whole story during that time. You can't ask that I have to stay for a long day because the weather was not in favor of us, or there is a rainy time, or that in that. No, they don't listen your excuses. For the story, as a videographer, as a video journalist, plan yourself and budget the timing, that how much time you will allocate for the shooting, for the interview, or for other purpose. If you don't have time, ask the supporting people, or more camera, or more unit to deal with the situation. When you know the technicalities and everything, how the camera is working, and what the benefit and what the opportunities you have in your camera, whether you are using a DSLR camera or video camera or your smartphone, all the technicalities, sound, lighting and everything, the end result is a story, the final outcome. So you have to focus on your final outcome. So doing this course, prepare yourself to do a one story, and step by step you did it. Like if you find a story on a rickshaw puller, the daily life of a rickshaw puller in Dhaka city during the coronavirus. So you set up your story, find a one rickshaw puller who can say something in front of your camera, not shy, not uncomfortable in front of the, talk to him about this issue, that how they are facing this situation, and take an interview in a nice quiet place. Choose a place where the noise is not high, but it should be in the street, because he is pulling his rickshaw in the street, not in the studio, or not in the place where the audience will not get the story from them. So take a road where the noise is not high. You just take interview, prepare your question according to your story, ask the question, get the interview from him, and make one self-narrative story. Self-narrative story, it means you don't need put any voiceover or any scripted voiceover. So take one interview, long interview about his life, his work, how he is facing this situation, what is the condition right now, what would be the change in future, will it, he knows these things or not, how he will cope up with this situation, and what he's thinking about the future, and what he's thinking about this coronavirus on blah, blah, blah. So ask the whole story, and when you get this thing, work with the editor, and you may ask say one director also to edit this story. Make a final story or with the 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes or 2.5 minutes. It means 2 to 3 minutes story for the web. It might be published on your channel. Maybe TV channel can ask you the story because it's relevant with the regular news or feature news. Or maybe you can submit to some competition. The challenges are facing the low-level income people in Bangladesh or Dhaka. So it might be the title. So set your story and go through this video lecture and take your complete your small assignment with this video and make one story. That will give you the total scenario of this course, and that will fulfill the objectives of this course. We are going to say the learning outcome again, that have an extensive knowledge about the process of videography, sound, lighting, and its implication in the audiovisual production. So that's the objectives of this course. Another objective is to able to do videography, to able to take audiovisual interview, to able to organize lighting during interview, and finally submit your the story to the audience. But for that you might need the editor, help of the editor or help of any director. Maybe you will be your own director to make these types of small stories. So for this course, please take one subject and complete the subject step by step. After one video, there is an assignment. After another video, there will be another assignment. So go through it and complete your own story and submit to the authority or submit for the feedback. And when you complete these things, you can ask to join this course again with the feedback, and that time the institute will give you the assignment. That time it will be not open. A specific assignment. Do these things within this week, and the teacher will give you the feedback. It is good or bad, or how you can improve this assignment. And after a week, when you completed the course, you will realize that how you can give your full learning to make a good story. Thank you.